Looking for a car you can count on? At AutoMasters, we offer a hand-picked selection of used and certified pre-owned vehicles priced right and ready to drive. With easy financing and expert service, AutoMasters is your trusted dealership from test drive to keys in hand. AutoMasters, driven by trust, powered by service. Visit our website at automasters06.com or stop by today. And oh yeah, tell them Sonia sent you.
She say, sports. She say, sports. She say, sports. She say, sports.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Sonia, and welcome back to She Say Sports. Please welcome two-time WNBA champion and author of a new book, Pivot Your Way to Health, Yolanda Moore.
Hey, Sonia.
Hey Yolanda, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you always supporting whatever I got
Absolutely.
going on. I appreciate that.
Absolutely, because I think you're a bomb, and so I know you are short for time, so we're gonna get started. On June 10th, on next Tuesday, your new book is coming out, Pivot Your Way to Health. However, I know that there it is. However, I know that you have pre-orders still for autograph copies. Is that correct?
Yes, I have a few free autograph copies available. Yes.
Okay. So when I was, I'm in your pivot group as well, and
Yes.
you posted something. You said that. Well, tell us what inspired you to write the book, and then I'll go there.
Okay. So, a year ago, I was diagnosed with pre-diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, all the stuff old people get, all the stuff your great grandma get, right? All that.
Right.
On top of that, I was almost 250 pounds. Like I just didn't even recognize myself, like physically and also just mentally, and
Yeah.
like it took a lot for me to just come to the realization that I did this, like I
Hmm.
let myself get to this. Now menopause played, she had her hand in it too.
Yes.
Because
Mhm.
menopause doesn't play fair. And so that's kind of where it started. I noticed just weight gain, but I wasn't sick. I was just fat. Like I just started gaining weight, but because like so many women, we get caught up in just surviving, trying to take care of family, trying
Right.
to take care of work to make sure that our daily needs are met, our kids are good. We show up for work
Hmm.
for people at work, we show up for our family, we show up for our friends, we show up for church, and then somewhere in the fold, if we have time, then we'll look out for us. And so that's kind of what happened to me. And honestly, I wrote the book just it's not a like how to so kind of book.
Hmm.
It's not a this is what I did, so you do it too. It's not one of those kind of books. It's to make you think about the impact that your health has on every aspect of your life and how we sacrifice our health for careers, we sacrifice our health for relationships and climb the
Hmm.
corporate ladder and to show up or to be seen or what have you. And then we wonder why we wake up one day and we don't recognize ourselves, we don't
Yeah.
recognize our bodies, we're worn down physically, everything hurts, and and then you look up and you sit in the doctor's office and they reading off all this stuff that you have. And you're like, well, when did that happen? It happened over time. And so
Right.
I wrote the book to kind of like a wake up call, particularly for women. It's a thought leadership book, but you don't have to have the title of leader because
Hmm.
we all lead in some aspect of our lives. And we all lead the charge in our own health transformation. So it's really just a wake up call to get back in alignment.
Yeah.
We can't fulfill our purpose without if we're sick. It's just it doesn't work, and we don't understand the impact that poor health has on not just our bodies and our relationships and our careers, but also on the amount of money that we can make, the influence and the impact that we can have because we're not able to show up fully and
Right.
be fully present in certain situations.
And that is so true. And you know,
you put on a post, and a couple throughout this interview, I'm going to be talking about stuff that you said on certain posts or YouTube, and because it really spoke to me. But you said you were inspired to write this book, not you were not inspired to write this book. You wanted to heal.
Yeah,
Can you take us through that journey? Not
yeah.
only the physical healing, but emotionally, spiritually, were you trying to heal in those areas as well?
Absolutely. Because I mean, I've been an athlete my whole life, so I
Mhm.
know what to do. Like I
Right,
know to get in the gym. I know to eat right. I know to drink water. I know to go to bed, get rest. Like I
right.
know all the things to do, but my body just was not responding to those things. And so once I started this process and went to the doctor and got all the news about what
Mhm,
was going on in my body. I was like, okay, where where do I go from here? And it was
mhm,
really about, I was like, God, I can't. After about 6 weeks, Sonya, I was working out and doing all the things, and I think I had lost like 3 or 4 pounds. And I was like, oh yeah, no, this ain't gonna work because I can just if I'm gonna put in all this work and still this is and I'm only gonna lose 3 or 4 pounds, I might as well go to Krispy Kreme and get the 6 pack and not the 3 pack. Like what we doing? So I really had to get with God. It was like, I was like, God, what is really going on? Because
mhm,
sometimes, and not sometimes, I know there are people who feel like, oh, well, there are just some people who are gonna be overweight because it's hereditary. You don't. It's not a
mm-mm.
fat gene. I don't. I'm not
I
a
don't
medical doctor,
understand that.
but all this, oh, I'm big boned. No, you not. Your
Your
bones
bones are
regular,
not big boned.
just like
Right.
everybody. What we inherit are the bad habits and the poor eating and the poor decision making and the low self esteem and
Mhm,
the rejection and the abandonment and the unforgiveness and the bitterness. And all of those things show up when it's unaddressed. Those things show up for people in different ways. For some people, it shows up as alcoholism. For some
yep.
people, it shows up as food addiction. For other people, it shows up as people pleasing. It's so it
Mhm,
shows up in different ways. So I really had to sit with God and be like, okay, what is really going on? And I
mhm,
had to do a lot of forgiving myself, um, letting go of things that I was holding on to subconsciously, mostly mistakes that I had made in the past and things
mhm,
like that. So it was a lot of inner work. Like the weight loss part was just like a byproduct of me doing all of the internal work to let go of things, to surrender,
mhm.
to God, to get back in alignment, to become like to really get focused on who He called me to be and why I'm here in this earth. Like I'm not just here. None of us are here just by happenstance to just,
Right.
be out here dilly dallying. Like you got work to do. And so once I locked in on being about my father's business and understanding that it wasn't about the physical weight, it was really about the emotional weight and the
Mhm.
mental weight that
Mm.
I've been carrying all these years, unbeknownst to me.
Yep. Interesting. What does the word pivot mean to you in the context of health and wellness?
It really means just taking a pause, like just stopping and making a different decision. Literally, like,
Hmm.
oh, I'm hungry. I want to eat these chips, but now I'm gonna pivot over here and get this apple, get this fruit. Like, really, it's just a change of direction. And
Hmm.
sometimes we get stuck in these loops and these cycles of this having a poverty mentality, these
Yeah.
cycles of just surviving, just doing enough to get by. And I believe, well, I know for me, it came down to just understanding my worth and knowing that I'm worthy of living a healthy life. I'm worthy
Hmm.
of having a healthy body. I'm worthy of, because that's what God wants for me. Like
Hmm.
he tells us in his word, beloved, I pray that you would prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. But if our soul is sick, our body is going to be sick.
Period.
But we spend so much time focusing on, the
The
first thing
physical.
yeah,
Hmm.
just, okay, let me get in the gym. No, that's probably like the third stop. The first
Hmm.
stop is let me sit down and be quiet and say, okay, what's really going on? Why am I turning to food for comfort? Why
Hmm.
am I looking at food as my savior? Why do I have this obsession? And you can replace food with something else. It could be sex addiction. It could be
Yep.
people pleasing. It could be alcohol. It could be smoking. Like, where does it come from? Because it comes from somewhere.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go back. You mentioned about when you first got back in the gym and you was just losing like 3 to 4 pounds in 6 weeks,
Mhm.
and you called me like a couple of months ago, and we talked. First of all, I want to thank God for forward thinking Oprah, Halle Berry, all of them talking about menopause. That was like coming on your cycle, and menopause were like curse words. Women just did
Yes.
not talk about it.
Mm-mm.
They didn't talk about it.
No.
I never heard anybody really talk about it in until the last maybe 5 years. And I
Right.
thank God for them. But you called me and we talked, and it's just like all of the stuff that comes with it, because my mom was like, you could always lose weight quick. What's going on with you? And finally, 2 months ago, I told my doctor, I said, I think I'm going through menopause because something is going, I can't lose weight, this, that, blah, blah, blah. And I had no testosterone in my body, and my estrogen was very low. So
Hmm.
I'm back in a place where, that's helping. So, and I know this book, and anybody can read or learn from this book, but I know you kind of wrote it for people over 40, or is that correct?
Yes.
Or,
Oh,
okay.
yeah. Yeah. Because it's like, those of us who are over 40 and 50, we grew up in a different time. Like,
Hmm.
now we have access to all this information and things like that. But those, our younger sisters out there who are in their 20s and 30s, they're growing up in an age where
Hmm.
health, taking care of yourself is, and I don't buy into the self care, going to get your hair done and nails. That's maintenance. Like, you don't do that anyway. That's not self care, is really soul care. Like really taking care of yourself
Hmm.
from the inside out. Like,
Yeah.
that's self care to me. And so, but they have where that's normal. It's normal to prioritize your health. It's
Hmm.
normal to prioritize you. Whereas you and I, we grew up in a time where, oh, you're supposed to put everybody else first and put yourself last.
Right.
Because if you put you first, then you're being selfish. And no, 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 you're actually being selfish when you don't prioritize your health, because now you can't show up for your family, you can't show up for yourself, you can't show up for God in a in the best way, because your body broke down. Your
Hmm.
head hurts, your back hurts, your knees hurt, you got arthritis, you got inflammation, you got diabetes, pre-diabetes, like all the things. And so this book is definitely for those of us, those women who are, of a mature age, who
Hmm.
are over 40, not just as a wake up call and to remind us that we still have a lot of life to live. We still have a
Yes.
lot to offer. We still have a lot of really good lived experience that this younger generation can benefit from. And so it's not the time to just roll over and play dead just because, now you feel like, oh, I'm older. I don't have the energy. Find the energy, find it, get it from somewhere, And so that's really, this book is for women who are over 40, who fall into that category of high achieving, high performing, get it, hustle, grind,
Hmm.
girl, stop, because you're killing yourself. You're killing yourself.
you know
Yeah.
you said something, another post you what was on the YouTube, and when I was like, oh my God, because it kind of went with what you just said. We have a lot of life to live, and so many women, we got businesses,
Yeah.
different stuff going on. You're a director, you're presidents of companies, and you said, please elaborate on this. Your purpose deserves a body that can carry it. You need to
Absolutely.
put that, you need to trademark that.
It's already, the application
Good
already
job.
submitted.
Your purpose deserves a body that can carry it. Can you elaborate on that for me?
When you think about, like, what Jesus did for us on the
Mhm.
cross, right? Like, there's no greater thing that a person could do, that other than like lay down his life for someone. Like,
Right.
he died so that we could live, right? Like, he died so that we could live. And each and every one of us is here on assignment. Whether you believe in God or you're
Right.
Christian or whatever, there's a purpose that you serve in this earth. And it
Hmm.
is so big, because whatever that purpose is, it directly or indirectly impacts the life of someone else.
Right.
And so, you just showing up, like you having this podcast, you don't know not just my interview, but interviews in the past or the ones that you'll have in the future. You don't know who may watch that and their life be changed
Yeah.
by something that was said on it. Like you don't know. Like I wasn't trying to become some like the GLP-1 like guru or anything like, or even in this
Mhm.
space of health and wellness. I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't even believe that like I'm able to transform my body like this, like and just sharing those things. But now that I've been doing it, the messages that I get from other women who were like me, saying things like, "Oh, you know, I was researching like a lunatic trying to figure out what was going on, but I came across your video and you helped me." Da 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 da. Like I get
Mm.
so many of those messages. But what if I had? Like, what if
Yeah.
I had just stayed stuck? What if I had just stayed, got fat, looked in the mirror, got depressed, and kept eating? It just kept getting bigger. Like I was one sandwich away from an emergency room visit. Like it was bad. Like, come on now.
I'm sorry. You are you are so comical, but you're
I
telling
mean,
the
but I'm
truth.
serious.
It's the
I'm
truth.
so
I know.
serious.
I
Like we
know.
walking around here in poor health. You one donut away from a heart
One.
attack,
Yep.
and then we have people because you know we don't really know what healed looks like, and we're so
Mm.
conditioned. We honor struggle, like oh we got it out the mud, or she got. I don't want to get it out the mud. Can I get it? Can I get it off the countertop?
Thank you.
Can
Thank you.
can I, like can I get it from somewhere else other than the mud? Like, I
That's
mean, can I
true.
get it from off the beach with me sitting down, like with my feet up?
That's
Like
true.
we honor struggle and we shun like success. And it's
That's
so
amazing.
crazy to me. I remember I made a video, I posted a video, I don't know how many weeks ago it was, but
Hmm.
I got so frustrated with hearing people say, "Oh my goodness, Yolanda, don't lose any more weight. Like, don't you small. Like you can girl, first of all, why you ain't say nothing when I was fat?
Thank you.
Why didn't you say anything when I was walking around here, literally looking like a 6'1", 250 pound sponge? You didn't say nothing.
I
Nobody,
saw that
nobody,
YouTube.
nobody checked in with me to see if I was okay.
Nobody. And and speaking of that, because I want to go to that YouTube, you lost about what, 84 pounds now?
It was like 82 pounds in 8 months.
That is amazing. And so you've lost 82 pounds, and my goal is to lose 80, but that seems sometimes unattainable because it's such a large number. However, I think sometimes we sabotage it with negativity, your mindset, and how. Tell us, how were you able to do it just to keep going?
Well,
When
now
when
first
you
of
didn't
all,
see any progress, or when you just felt like that's just a big number, I can't ever get to 84 pounds, 82 pounds.
first of all, I didn't start out saying, "Oh, I want to lose 82 pounds." What I said was, "I don't want to be 250 pounds."
Correct.
Like I started there. Like
Hmm.
I don't want my weight to start with a two. I don't want to hear, and I don't want to hear nothing about no. Oh, you gotta be positive and love your body at all state. I was positive that I didn't want that body that I had, that
Right.
250 pound body. Like I didn't want that. So I wasn't focused necessarily on I want to get to a specific weight. I just knew I didn't want to be where I was.
Hmm.
And so I did, and I did everything I knew to do, in terms of like changing my diet, drinking my water, walking 3 miles a day, 4 times a week, going to the gym. Like I did all of those things and nothing was working because I didn't understand what my body was going through in terms of the hormones. Like
Hmm.
I did what I knew to do based on who I was before, but I had never been 50 in the menopause.
Right.
So I knew that I needed to do something different. So a friend of mine that I saw a year before, in 2023, we were both singing the "I Don't Want to Be Fat" song. When I saw her again a few months later, she wasn't fat anymore. And I was like, "What did you do? And where can I get whatever you got?" And so
Mhm.
she told me about the GLP-1 medications. And so I did my research. I was diagnosed with prediabetes, so I understood that it helped with
Right.
that. But I also did a little more research and found that it did impact, weight loss or what have you. And
Hmm.
so I came up with my own strategy in terms of because I was not going to be on medication for the rest of my life. Like I was going to do that.
Mhm.
just understanding what it was and how it worked. So I was able to leverage it, and I did it. I used it from July 2024, and I took my last like shot sometime in April. So I've been off of it for like a month,
So
and
you're maintaining
you
now.
hear
You're just
you
maintaining now.
yeah, I'm just maintaining. And so you hear stories about, oh, when you take it, and there was so much fear and shame
Hmm.
around, for women that I've been coaching and hearing the stories. And even, people would say to me, like, oh, well, I wouldn't do that because it's dangerous. And look, anything, if you stay on
Taking
keto diet
taking
too long,
diabetes medicine is dangerous. Taking blood pressure medicine is
all
dangerous.
of it, all
All of
of
that.
it, all of it. But when things are done safely and strategically and as part
Hmm.
of a strategy, a bigger strategy,
Right.
then I'm all for you doing what you want to do and what's safe for you or what works for you. But that's why
Hmm.
I focus on the mindset. Like I did the work to make sure that I did not become psychologically depending on it, fearing that once I transitioned off of the medication, that I was afraid of gaining the weight back. Like I don't want to be afraid of a piece of bread. Like, oh my God, if I eat this bread, I'm gonna gain weight. So and a lot of women do gain their weight back, but that's because they don't use it strategically, and they don't do a
Hmm.
lot of them don't do the work on the mindset to develop the right habits, and so that when they do come off of the medication, they can maintain, those
Hmm.
things like understanding where the food noise is coming from, understanding your emotional triggers, teaching your body how to crave food that it needs that also tastes good,
Right.
but learning to eat for fuel and not for fun. Because in the black community, baby, if it's any event, we eat. I
That's
don't
right.
care what it is. We gonna find a way to eat.
That's right.
And so
And
I
especially,
I just yeah,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
I'm sorry. No, I was saying, and not only Black people, but Americans, we love Friday is like celebration. Like it's the weekend. I'm off work. Let's go get some drinks. And the portion size are so big.
Girl. Oh
You done
my
ate three
goodness.
thousand calories in one meal.
At the appetizer.
Yeah,
At the appetizer. And so
you're
yeah,
right.
like I just did the work. And it wasn't easy work, but it was necessary work. And so I'm not gonna be out here robbing people for a sandwich because my like appetite has come back with a vengeance and all that kind of stuff. Like all the stories you hear, like it's not like that.
And you that same YouTube when you talked about being 6'1", 250. You that YouTube is was called why people get uncomfortable when you lose weight, and you gave
Right.
5 reasons. Can you give us a couple of reasons of that? Because that was amazing. I mean, I agree with everything you said.
Well, one of them, now I don't know what order it is, but a lot of times when you change and when you make any kind of change, right?
Hmm.
And you leave your friend group, if you do something different, you stepping outside of that and bettering yourself, um, achieving your goals or working to transform or working to better yourself, it's kind of like a mirror for them, and it shows them, it highlights the work that they're not doing. And
Gotcha.
so instead of them taking accountability and saying, you know what, I need to make some changes, so let me make changes, now they project that onto you with these backhanded comments. Like, well, you were fine the other way. Oh, well, I didn't even notice that you, girl, yes, you did. You knew I was
Yes, you
there.
did. Yes, you
You
did.
saw me. If I saw me, you saw me. So
Absolutely.
the other thing is, like I said, we normalize struggle and we shun success. Like
Hmm.
it's okay if you constantly struggling, if you struggling with your weight, and if you. It's funny how it's acceptable for a person in
Hmm.
our community, especially, to take blood pressure medicine, kidney medicine, whatever. All these different have 5 medications that they have to take. Like
Hmm.
that is normal. That is okay.
That's
But the
normal.
moment
Yeah.
that you say that, I'm not going to eat like that. I'm changing my health. Well, why are you doing all that? Why are you taking 5, 6 pills a day just to be able to breathe? Like, why is that?
Hello.
That makes no sense to me. It's like when you tell a person that you drink, like that you don't drink water. I heard this comedian say, like, if you tell a person that, oh, I don't drink water, they're like, oh, okay, well, okay. But if you tell them you don't drink alcohol, what? You
They,
don't drink? Oh my God.
they
Like,
get
what's wrong?
mad.
Yeah. Like Is that not messed up? Like that is so crazy.
I
That's
don't
crazy.
understand that. I get it. I'm like, I'm like, no, I don't. So why? I mean, what's the matter? I mean, why you don't? Because I don't want to. I mean, it's just
Right. Like there's something wrong with you
yeah.
not drinking alcohol. Right. That is so crazy.
But you're right. It sheds
Another
a light on them, and not really. It's not about you. It's really about them.
right. It's really about them. And then the other thing is, a lot of people like our society, somebody made this comment. It's more politically correct to skinny shame someone than it is to quote unquote fat shame somebody.
Hmm.
Like it's more acceptable for you to comment on a person who's lost weight and tell them that they're thin or tell them that they're too small or
Hmm.
tell them that, that's enough versus telling someone who to be overweight, to be not even overweight, let's call it what it is, obese slash
Yeah,
fat
because that's
and
what it is.
unhealthy and
Hmm.
sick. It is more politically correct to tell somebody that they're too small versus telling somebody, okay, that you need to, miss a meal or two. It's not going to, you, you don't want to say it like that, but depending
No,
on
I
what your
know what you
relationship
mean.
is, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's bad.
You're right.
It's bad because it's seen as you being the bad person.
Hmm.
When no, if you tell somebody out of love, listen, I'm concerned for you. I noticed that you are, you're picking up weight and you don't look healthy. Are you okay? Like, do you need to talk? Is everything okay? And let them get mad.
Right.
It's okay. Let them get offended. They get offended because they know you telling the truth,
Right.
and it's obviously something that they don't want to. They don't want to. They don't want to confront. But
They want to change, but they don't want to change.
right, right. They
Cause
want to change without actually changing.
right. Because even though it's hard, it's gonna be a hard. Choose your hard. Choose a hard going to the
Exactly.
gym, lifting weights, eating right, or choose your hard, continuing to eat the way you're eating on medication and not feeling well. So you
Absolutely. But that's normalized in our community.
yeah.
It's normalized. It's normalized in our community. And then the one of the other reasons is that people just don't want like they want to see you do well, just not better than them.
Hmm. Yeah.
Unfortunately, and it's not
It's
even
sad.
intentional. It's not even intentional. It is not even intentional.
Hmm.
Subconsciously, and dare I say that crab in the barrel mentality, because
Hmm.
it's like when you when you when you transform your body, you transform your health, you transform your mind, you're not the same person. You don't tolerate a lot of the things that you used to tolerate. Your
Right.
boundaries, like I noticed, and that's not even something that I was working on. I have really strong boundaries, not just
Hmm.
with other people, but with myself, you know, and it's not something that's negotiable. I don't
Right.
explain my nose anymore. Like I don't have to explain that at all. So it's just they see you changing and people fear change because they fear losing how they're able to interact with you. They're
Hmm.
losing, that they feel like they don't have a you guys don't have a commonality anymore. And
Right.
it's not necessarily anything you did, but it could be something that they feel.
Right. Last two. What did you learn about yourself while writing this book?
I'm sorry, it cut off. What'd you say?
What did you learn about yourself while writing Pivot Your Way to Health?
What did I learn about myself? Well, one thing I learned that I needed to do more of was show myself more compassion. I
Mm.
show others way more compassion than I do for myself. Then like I just
Mhm.
needed to show myself more compassion. Um, I also learned that um, I don't have to. I'm not responsible for information that I don't have. Like I'm not responsible for what I don't know. Like, and that came from doing that work where I have to forgive myself for the past because I beat myself up like, you should have done this, and you should have known this, and you should have done better.
Mhm.
But when you 25, 30, whatever, like you don't know what you don't know at any
Right.
age. But when you make young mistakes when you're young and you
Hmm.
never process through them, and then you're paying for it, or you see those mistakes show up later in life, and now
Right.
you look back and it's like you have all this regret. But it's like, no, Yolanda, you didn't know. Like you
Hmm.
just didn't know.
Yeah, that's true. Last
Yeah. So,
question. If readers take away just one thing from your book, what should it be?
oh gosh, that is not really like weight loss and all that stuff. Is not really about what we think it's about. It's
Hmm.
not about a number on a scale. It's not about, you know, fitting fitting your clothes or looking good in the mirror or any of those things.
Right.
It's really about alignment. It's really
Mhm.
about just being in alignment with God and who He has called you to be, and who, and that assignment that you're here
Yeah.
for. It's just knowing who you are in Him and understanding that you are living and doing and being for an audience of one. And
Hmm.
when you're in alignment with Him and your mind, body, soul, spirit, and all that stuff is in alignment, then you're going to embody the person that you were always created to be. And that person is a person of conviction, a person of integrity, a person who is focused and confident
Hmm.
and disciplined and not feeling like she has to carry the weight of the world on her
Yeah.
shoulders, and understanding that she is not alone. Like, you don't, we especially black women, but women in general, but especially black women, we feel like we got to carry it all. And
Hmm.
just because you can doesn't mean you have to.
Right. That's true. I
It
love
don't
that.
mean you have to. Yeah.
I love that. Yolanda, thank you so much for joining me today. And we're going to do what you know, but I'm just giving tips for maintaining your weight and health after 40. And you can answer or, respond to any of it, piggyback
Okay.
rather. Staying active, making physical activity and a regular part of your routine, walking, running, whatever, doing weights, eating a balanced diet, focusing on nutrient-rich foods and limit processed foods, sugary drinks, and excessive alcohol. Prioritize sleep. People don't realize how important your sleep is. And
Absolutely.
before I got the hormone replacement therapy from my doctor, I couldn't sleep because I wasn't having flashes, but I would have night sweats. And
Mm,
now I can sleep at night. Aim for 7 to 8 hours of quality of sleep each night. Manage stress by finding healthy ways to cope with stress, such as exercise, meditation, or spending time in nature. Track your progress. Monitor your weight and body measurements to see how you're doing and make adjustments as needed. And the most important, be patient and persistent. Losing weight and maintaining a healthy weight takes time and effort.
yep.
It takes
Absolutely.
time.
I agree with all of those. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yolanda, tell the listeners again, thank you so much, how they can follow you on social media and also order your book, June 10th, Pivot
Yes.
Your Way to Health.
Yes. So the book will be it's available for pre-order, but it'll be live on June 10th on online, Amazon, Barnes and Noble. I don't know if y'all shop at Target or not, but it's over there. It's over there. Um, if you want an autographed copy, you can always go to pivotyourwaytohealthbook.com
Mhm.
and order a copy. I am Yolanda Moore across social media. On YouTube, it is Pivot. It's I am Yolanda Moore on everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, on all of it. Yeah.
Okay. And guys, you can follow me. She say sports on Facebook. She say sports 23 on Instagram. And please subscribe to our YouTube page. She say sports. Well, that's my show for today. Until next time, this is Sonia with she say sports.
She say, sports. 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 Sports.